I talked a little bit earlier in a previous video about my increasing curiosity around law firms and really what's happening in their future. I talked a little bit about, it's really about everyone saying they must change. There's lots of stuff happening, and yet at the core of firms, when you get into the legal teams and the partnerships, when it really gets to the core of the organisation, somehow not a lot of change is really happening, particularly in firms who perhaps have been around for a while. So I decided to investigate this, and I came up with some findings. I went around and I interviewed people from across the legal ecosystem, and really got them to put their thoughts out on what the future of the legal sector or the future of a law firm would look like. And then we got, I investigated the collective thoughts around that. And it was very interesting. What everyone was talking about, pretty much, there was a collective feeling that the future of law firms would be bright and innovative and collaborative. Technology would just make things happen. It would be much more diverse. Everyone, people wouldn't be shackled to a desk. People would be working flexibly. But one thing that was missing was the journey that will take us from now, which people didn't describe in such positive terms, whether they were in law firms or not. That journey wasn't clear. And the time frame for the future, was actually relatively short. Now anyone who's looked at the topic of change in organisational transformation will know that it's no mean feat to take an established culture through a transition. But what I did find was the newer businesses tended to have started with this culture, and so they were often running in that sort of new mode. But that there was a desire in the older organisations to somehow try and shift their shape into this world. They recognise they're going to need to do it because clients, all the reasons clients want more value for their money, staff want to have a better work experience, people want a fulfilling sense of purpose from their work, all these things. But I'm not sure that perhaps the firms who may be 5 to 10 years in existence actually have the tools to hand to make that transition. So what my findings were around looking at some of the organisational factors that could be causing the people at the very top to really unconsciously struggle with whether or how they can take part in this transition. So it's something that I'm going to be looking into in more detail and perhaps coming up with some thoughts on ways in which you can work with your organisation to help them start making this change.